Played surprisingly more of that Brawlhalla. I thought I would be bored with it immediately, but it's when you've got about 8 minutes to kill and you feel like a little bit of Smash Brothers on your PC, it was kind of fitting the bill despite how shallow it is. But I have noticed that each character does have one special ability to each of the 2 weapons that they have. Even though there's only 4 different weapon types, each one of them does have a specialty to each weapon. So that's something I've missed from last time. And it did just do a big update today, so I don't know if that's more characters or if they added a new weapon or what the case may be. Also got a new little game that is painfully obvious that it was for an iPad or something because it's so touch heavy, called Crow. And I kind of like the idea where you're playing as a bird and flying over, doing quests and stuff like that. But to actually play it, man, that is such a weird and almost boring chore.
Can you clip on people?
No.
Oh.
Matter of fact, most of the game is this itty-bitty little map. Circle around it, you try to find all of these little hidden objects, and then you go fight a boss. Then it turns into this kind of Star Fox sort of thing, where you dodge tree limbs and the occasional enemy shot or something like that. Well, you press a button, and then you make a stroke with your mouse. So this is one of those touchpad. Then SimCity 2000, that freebie on Origin, so if anybody's feeling nostalgic, go for it. But like Grover said, it has not aged well. And I knew this going in, but there were certain aspects of it not aging well I was not prepared for. It running through DOSBox, I understood that. We're talking about a super old game here. It's like 1992 when that thing came out.
93.
My version is on like 5 floppy disks, so this is an old game, people. But I played it so much back in the day, it was kind of like going back to the old SimCity on the Super Nintendo. It feels more like a puzzle game than it does a city simulator, so once you make that kind of separation to it, I found myself actually having some fun again. Not to mention that I used that same trick that I did on the old days where every 50 years the power plant explodes and they're like saving up for those things can be a pain. However, there's one little off thing. The hydroelectric does not ever explode. So at the first of the game, you make a giant hill, you put a bunch of waterfalls on it, and you have power for your entire city, and chances are you will never run out of money because of that, unless you just overbuild too fast, which is kind of hard to do. So, yeah, I actually had a little bit of fun. It took some time trying to figure out where the sub-menus were, because now it's just natural. When you either hover over something or you click on something, it automatically drops open a Dropbox. No, you have to hold down the mouse button until something happens to bring down the Dropbox. I had forgotten that, and it's a long...
down too fast to click it, it'll disappear.
Yep, and it takes a long time, too. It's not like hold it for a couple of seconds. No, I don't know, maybe it's just the emulation thing, but I don't remember it being that bad.
No.
But that was the worst part of it.
DOSBox.
And I finally beat King's Bounty, the Legend. The next game, Armored Princess, actually takes off where the Legend ended. And your character's off exploring the world, and the demon that you fought, actually toward the end of the game and not the dragon itself, comes back and invades. And so you're the princess that you rescued in the last game, going to look for him. Unfortunately, what I didn't know is Crossworlds is not the third game in the series. It's an expansion pack to Armored Princess. So I could have just downloaded Crossworlds and not bothered downloading Armored Princess. And for a lot of people, whoop-de-doo. That's like a gig and a half. Yeah, that's like half a day, a full day of downloading for me, so that takes a while. I like saving time, dude. So yeah, I started over with the Crossworlds, and so I've got all the expansion pack stuff going on. But I'm still running into that weird difficulty curve where you'll be fine just killing everything in sight, and then all of a sudden you'll be up against guys who are way more powerful than you'll ever be. Well, not ever been, but
sudden, instant molestation.
Well, if you just hover over it before you click, it'll tell you, but when something says invincible on it, there's a good chance you probably should not be taking on that guy yet.
Yeah. I remember having the idea that if you attacked, the music would determine whether you're about to get your ass annihilated or not. I don't know. I think I was just like, because it played different music sometimes, and like if it played a certain song and this song is determined, kind of gets stomped into the ground.
That's one thing I always kind of missed when I switched from Final Fantasy XI to World of Warcraft. Years and 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 years ago, I missed the battle music, and WoW has just never had it.
11's battle music was awesome, especially some of the.
It really was. I mean, I still remember it, and I haven't played that game in, 8-9 years? Mm-hmm. It's been a long time, and I still remember the battle music.
11 still crushes 14's too.
See, I played 14 for a little bit, not as long as I played 11. I don't remember 14's battle music at all, and I played it just a few months ago.
Because mostly you just go to a different area, and it's just a different variation of the same damn song.
I just miss the music to, in general.
Yeah, just something to say, hey, you're in combat now.
Well, especially when, they started making combat music more dynamic. That's really nice. It's just not something that exists in World of Warcraft, because there's just no music.
Some of the 11 boss battle music was mind-blowing. The final battle for the Shadow Lord battle for the vanilla version of it, that's a really awesome one. Fighting the Shadow Crystal Warriors, that's an awesome song too.
And I'm going to segue a little bit. Final Fantasy VII was announced for PlayStation 4.
I don't even want to start with that shit.
And a lot of people were getting really excited because everybody remembers the PS3 thing, where they did that tech demo. And so when it was announced for PlayStation 4, there was actually a lot of thought of, oh my goodness, did they finally do it? No, we're getting a fairly enhanced version of the PlayStation 1 one.
I don't know why people are surprised.
I'm not surprised either. It's just one of those type of things. If they wouldn't have drummed it up, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal, because we've been getting a lot of stuff on Steam lately where they've finally been bringing over the Final Fantasy 7 and 8, and 3 and 4 came out, the ones that were on the DS. And of course, the Lightning series is coming out for the Steam too, so I have no problem with them bringing old stuff out to the new consoles. They do that all the time anyway. It was just some sort of feeling that this was going to be a big announcement, and it reminds me of that Bomberman thing from a couple of months ago.
They really hyped it up. That's why people were freaking out. They made it seem like it was going to be something major, and then they just kind of... I laughed when I watched the after they were like, well, we're not really, it's just going to be Final Fantasy VII, the original version, and everybody's going from really excited to, are you serious? expressions.
But I do understand that they're going to be pushing for more HD. There was the higher definition videos for the game that was still saved after all these years. That's why not so long ago when they actually read the nameplate on Genova.
Yeah.
And talk about some fan theories that popped off that game after that. Maybe it's not a fantasy world after all.
Not a fantasy world after all. Genova's real, oh god.
Well, at least Midgard may have actually been some city built on top of the ruins of Earth.
Herb is really a live stream conspiracy.
Yep. And speaking of post-apocalyptic, Borderlands is getting an MMO, but only in China.
Only in China.
Actually, I'm sure it'll come out in the US eventually. That's how a lot of that type of stuff usually does. It's just really, really strange that somebody would have gone out of their way to make a MMO for an audience you wouldn't have thought would have been big on the Borderlands series, because it's a very American kind of series, if you ask me. And Ralph Baer, the inventor of the Magnavox Odyssey and the inventor of the first light gun game, among many, many other things regarding video games and electronics, passed away this week at the age of 92.
Yep, that sucks. He's 92, so...
Yeah, he lived a long, full life, and he'd still kept up with gaming even today, because it was a couple of years ago that he was in a documentary. It wasn't focused on him, but it seems like he was in Video Games the Movie, too, which was right around that time, I think. But that may even be the documentary, I don't know. Oops, there's that lack of research showing again.
I just clearly remember seeing the news thing that reported that he died, and the first comment I saw was, thanks Obama. It just made me laugh. It was thanks Obama, but the reason why they were blaming him was hilarious. It was just like, what?
Yeah, I don't think this was healthcare related. So you can catch us at Twitter at PrinnyCast, and can contact you can contact us with email at prinnycast@gmail.com, and that's about the only places you're going to see too much of us, at least as far as the roundtable is concerned, for quite a while. We probably will not be back until possibly January 9th, which is the second Friday in January. So that's going to be a 4-week vacation period there. But Rover sounds like he's definitely on board of doing some more stuff. It may not always be Minecraft. He's kind of wanting to do interspersed with some other stuff you may notice when he did the Goat Simulator. I'm certainly not done with some Prinny plays. I'm finally getting back into that a little bit. I almost did some recording on some this week, but it was just such a depressing, horrible week that I thought any funny I could have possibly done would have sounded fake. And let's face it, folks, that is such a campy character to begin with. He doesn't need any help. So I decided to wait on those until I was doing a little better in the old soul. But in the meantime, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and all that good stuff.
Have a good one.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And we'll see you all next time on the PrinnyCast. Woot!